So today we're checking out the latest release from POCO, which in this case came with a nice black box instead of a standard yellow POCO box. So this new POCO was sent over to me by POCO for review, and although these were sent over to me, no money has exchanged hands, and this review is based on my honest and unbiased opinion. So the X5 5G that we have here comes in two different variants, which is the 6GB model with 128GB of storage and 8GB model with 256GB of storage. Pricing will vary from country to country, and you can check out my links when it's available. However, the lower variant should be priced around $200 and the more expensive 8GB model should be about $270. So the design of POCO phones don't vary too much from phone to phone, and they mostly have different rear designs. So you can see that the back of each of the POCO phones are very different, which emphasizes on their camera design. So and this time with the X5 5G, we're not going to get a dot cutout display, but at the top here, we're going back to the dot drop display design at the top here, which is decent since you get quite a lot of screen real estate with a design like that. And the bezel here is also kept to a minimum, so you get to maximize the entire view of the screen. So with this new model, you're going to be able to choose from 3 different colors with the X5 5G, and you're either going to get green, blue or black, and there is no POCO yellow with this model in this case. So at the back of the phone, you're going to get a large POCO branding at the side there of the phone, and also a different camera bump design. And there are now 3 different cameras at the back of the camera, where you're going to get a main 48 megapixel camera at the top here with an 1.8 aperture, an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera at the bottom here, and also a 2 megapixel macro camera at the side here at f2.4. And on the right of the phone, you're going to get the volume rocker as well, so the power button, which acts as a fingerprint reader, which is very easy to use, and it rests at a very natural position as you place your hand. And on the other side here, you're going to get a SIM tray, where you also be able to expand the storage up to 1TB. At the top of the phone here, you're still going to get a 3.5mm auxiliary jack to support for those who love music, who enjoy physical connection to the phone. At the bottom of the phone, you're going to get your Type-C charging port, as well as a bottom firing speaker unit. So let's talk about display a little bit. And for its price, POCO often gives you great looking display for not a lot of money. And this time around, you're not just going to get a small screen, you're going to get a 6.67-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED display with a resolution of 2400 by 1080. So this is a 1080p screen. The phone also comes with a maximum brightness of 700 nits and a peak brightness of 1200 nits for HDR contents. And it's honestly not the brightest display when used outdoors under the sun. And with that, you need a phone like the iPhone 14 Pro Max with a peak outdoor brightness of about 2000 nits. So you're also going to get full DCI-P3 color gamut on this phone, so the colors on this phone look really nice. And POCO also used Corning Gorilla Glass 3 with the X5 5G, so it should be strong enough for your daily use and when you're not abusing your phone. So in terms of battery life with this phone, it's also pretty good, especially now that it has AMOLED display. I did a standard YouTube test with this phone's 5000 mAh battery, and this is what I found. So I started the test at 12:20 AM in the morning when the phone is fully charged at 100%. I ran YouTube at full screen at max brightness and max resolution, which is 1080p on this phone. And I checked in at about 12 PM and the battery is still 100%, and I continued and left it running all the way till 7 in the evening, and that's 7 hours of continuous video playback on YouTube, and the battery was at 69%. I then left it running to 9 o'clock in the night and ended the day at 57%. So instead of turning the phone off, I left the phone with notification running and everything, but the screen was turned off, and I left it for standby for the next 26 hours, more than a day. And I came back the next day at 11:30 PM and it still had 50% battery. So then I continued to let the phone run YouTube all the way to 8 AM in the morning, and I was left with 7% battery life. So I think this phone is really quite lasting, especially with this combo of screen and battery capacity. So the X5 5G also comes with 33 watts fast charging, and the best part is POCO includes 33 watts fast charger brick in the box itself, which is fantastic. So technology-wise, the X5 5G this time is equipped with a Snapdragon processor instead of their usual MediaTek chipset, and this time it comes with the Snapdragon 695 processor, which is an octa-core processor clocked in at 2.2 GHz. This is still a budget tier 5G chipset that you see in many common phones like Vivo, Oppo, and also their POCO phones, but despite being budget, it performs pretty well. My only problem with this phone is that it doesn't support playback videos at 4K, and even apps like YouTube only supports up to a maximum of 10 1080p, which is the native resolution of this device, since this chipset only supports up to maximum video playback resolution of 1080p at 60 frames per second. So gaming with PUBG is decent with no issues, but you'll only be able to run it at HD graphics, which is not the best and doesn't have the highest frame rate, but with a phone like that, you're really not expecting to game at extremely high resolutions. So in terms of storage, as mentioned earlier, you can buy this either in a 128GB storage model with 6GB of RAM or 256GB of storage with 8GB of RAM, and you can definitely boost the storage with a 1TB micro SD card. Unfortunately, unlike the M5S from POCO that we've checked out, there is no water resistant rating for the X5 5G, so definitely don't try to get this phone wet if you can. And the phone also comes with a Bluetooth 5.1 chipset, which is decent. However, in a world of modern Bluetooth 5.3 devices, you're not going to be able to enjoy them at maximum potential. So with the X5 5G, what you're going to get here with the phone is a large 48MP sensor, very similar to the spec of the new iPhone 14 Pros, which only just got updated, but internally they are very different. So with the 48MP mode turned on, you're going to get about 6000 by 8000 resolution image, which is slightly smaller than the POCO M5S 64MP images. So comparing it to the standard photo mode of this phone, which uses the same camera, same main camera to shoot a 12MP image at 3000 by 4000 resolution, and with that said, I don't see a significant bump in image quality. However, you get a larger photo that you can crop in and there's more room to work with. So the iPhone's camera has recently got a lot of heat from the software not being optimized to take advantage of the new sensor, and to my surprise, when comparing shots with the POCO that costs more than 10 times cheaper than my iPhone, you can see both the 48MP shots, the POCO's image kind of turned out cleaner, sharper, and better depth of field. You're also going to get several different camera modes, such as portrait mode, which works really well in blurring the background of your shots. You're also going to get night mode, which works decently well in low light situations. However, with very dimly lit situations, you do see noise becoming more apparent with this camera. And the 8MP ultra wide camera works okay in bright sunny situations. However, in dimly lit situations, the camera isn't the best, and this is the case for many phone cameras since it usually uses a less premium sensor compared to the main camera. Macro shots here are somewhat usable, however, I don't particularly like the color signs here or the overall exposure and sharpness that is processed onto the image, which makes it look like a pretty terrible photo, but granted this is a 2MP macro sensor, so you are not really expecting too much from it. At the front here, you're going to get the same 13MP selfie camera, similar to the M5S. Photos are decently sharp, however, I do notice it to be a little overexposed or soft with some scenes with complex lighting. So if you're a videographer, this is where it's a little bit disappointing since the Snapdragon chipset here only supports up to 1080p, and that's true also when you're taking videos using the camera. So you get a maximum resolution of 1080p at 30 frames per second for all of the cameras here. So sound quality wise on the POCO X5 5G is decently good, and the device also comes with the 3.5mm jack for you to plug in your favorite headphones. However, if you're thinking to run any high impedance headphones, definitely use an amp with this phone. Overall, if you're using the built-in speaker a lot, it's not extremely dynamic, but it gets the job done. Again, at extremely competitive price point, I think POCO has a very strong market targeting the younger demographic who needs a smartphone but don't have the means to get any flagship phones that goes up to 7,000–8,000 Malaysian ringgit. And with that said, I think this is a compelling offering from POCO and definitely is on par with the M5S. However, for my money, I'll gravitate more towards the M5S since I care about video more, and the M5S does support 4K video and playback. So that is it for this review. If you find this video helpful, smash that thumbs up button, share this video everywhere, and if you haven't yet subscribed, do consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next video.